Now, answering your questions about the law and legal issues. This is Legal Break with attorney Gary Bruce.
Hello there and welcome. Welcome, Gary.
Good morning.
We have a Facebook question today.
Right.
I'm going to pull it up and read it at the same time. Gary, if I've been injured in a car wreck but was not the driver, whose insurance pays for my injuries?
Well, a good question. There's some variables there. So I take it you're the passenger in a vehicle driven by somebody else and that driver is at fault. So in that case, I believe the answer is that the driver's insurance is primary, and then your own insurance would be secondary if you have uninsured motorist coverage or if you have medical payment coverage on your auto policy. So those, talking about insurance companies, the driver, if they have their own vehicle, it was their vehicle, that would be primary. So now this is an interesting question then, how it relates. In Georgia, you can sue the driver. If I'm riding with you and you mess up, I've got a case there. In Alabama, there's an antiquated law called the guest passenger statute, which says that passengers cannot sue the driver of the vehicle they're in, even if the driver is negligent. But there are exceptions, of course, primarily related to malicious conduct or grossly negligent conduct. Drunk drivers aren't exempt. You know, there's a lot of exceptions, so lawyers have to get involved. But you'll often hear, well, you were the guest passenger of someone. If you're on a business trip, it's exception. There's a lot of exceptions. But just driving to the store together, you might be preempted from having a case against the driver in Alabama. But in Georgia, we recognize that if you're negligent, you're negligent. You're responsible for what you did to the people in the car with you.
So follow-up question though, what if I wasn't driving, but this car was my car and I'm the passenger?
Right, and that complicates whose coverage. There you might have two coverages. You may have coverage for the driver, her or his own vehicle coverage, even if they weren't driving their car. If they have a garage full of cars, they've got their own coverage. So that would be primary, and then your own liability coverage would cover the driver if that driver was a permissive user. So if you had given permission to the driver, you're riding with them, and they have a wreck, there may be two insurance policies there to cover damages that come out of the case. So those are the kind of things that have to be coordinated, investigated, and looked at. And you know, if there's two vehicles involved, it's not always just the driver's fault. It may be the other part's fault too. If you're a passenger, you did nothing wrong. So it's worth looking at.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Gary.
You're
Good
welcome.
question.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the very next legal break.